Hey everyone, welcome back here to TechStrong TV. So we came off of that crazy show floor to our luxurious broadcast suite here at the Luxor Hotel, MGM.
Tell my wife I love her.
Yes. But thanks for joining us in our continuing Black Hat 2025 coverage. My next guest really needs no introduction to security people and our audience at TechStrong. It's my friend Rich Mogull. First of all, Rich, welcome back to TechStrong TV. Thanks for only the best for you, Rich. Only the best. But thanks for coming up and being with us. I appreciate it. Rich, of course, you're at FireMon.
Yep.
You know, I forgot your title. Is it VP of Cloud Security?
SVP of Cloud Security. You got it.
SVP of Cloud Security.
The S is for special.
Well, you know, I wrote an article last month. The S in vibe coding stands for security. And, you know, that brings me up. Remember, we did a podcast once with the CEO of MongoDB.
I will never forget.
I bring it up all the
Adrian
time.
and I talk about it all the time.
And why is NoSQL mean no security? And they said, we'll have security when our customers.
That was their answer. And then everybody got breached, and then they added security.
And I think the same thing's going to happen with vibe coding.
Agree.
When people start demanding security, they'll do something about it. But until then, as I said, the S in vibe coding stands for security. But Rich, you're at FireMon, as we mentioned. But of course, if you know Rich, long distinguished career as a Gartner analyst covering the
data security, DLP
space. Yes.
Yep.
Well, those were my days. Those were my years, DLP and stuff like that. And then, of course, Rich and our good friend Mike Rothman went on to found Securosis.
Yep.
Kind of reset, broke the mold in security analyst firms over the years. And then you guys, Rich, you were the primary driver of a product vision that came out. And that's how you came to FireMon.
Yeah, so they acquired our startup DisruptOps about 3 or so years ago, and and then
so it's been a ride. It's been a ride, my friend.
It's any little corner of this industry you could hit, I've probably.
You know, I always like to think it's a round room, and there are no corners. But you're right. We've been there. But you want to know the nice thing coming to Black Hat? Our next guest is in the green room waiting for us here, Fred Wilmot. I've had a chance to meet so many people, and you know more than me, but we've met so many people, and you come to this or you come to an RSA, maybe twice a year we get together. And it's good to see these people. I mean, some of these relationships are 20, 25 or more years old.
I've known you for over 20 years.
Absolutely. I'm ashamed to tell you longer than that, my friend. Because I think first Security Bloggers Network was over 20 years ago, Party. Yeah. I think it was 2003.
I'm bad at math.
No, I know. Well, it's easy because we're in a 25 year. So it's easy to say what 25 years is, right?
Yeah.
But next year it'll throw me off. Anyway, hey, Rich, we're here to talk a little bit about FireMon, though. I think most of our audience knows FireMon, but for those who maybe aren't, why don't we start there at that 50,000 foot level? What is FireMon?
Yeah, FireMon focuses on security operations, and the area that we're most focused on is network security policy management. So NSPM is the core product. We do also have my old product, which is a cloud security posture management product. We have an asset manager product as well.
Okay.
And if you have really large, complex, doesn't even need to be really large. If you need to manage firewalls from different vendors, different environments, make sure those things are all compliant, FireMon is kind of the best at that.
Yep. And just, you know, to serve as a cybersecurity historian, FireMon, of course, was spun out of Gary Fish's Fishnet Security. The CTO of Fishnet was a guy named Jody Brazel. And Jody, they spun it out as FireMon, and Jody was the first CEO. He left for a while, but he came back. He's still CEO.
Yeah, so it was a pretty wild story. So Jody invented it basically because he was doing these consulting projects, and he did let's see if I can automate myself out of a job thing. And he came up with ways to do automation, connect to all these different firewalls, and have this consistent policy enforcement. Went to Gary spun it out. So Jody was the tech founder, everything, became CEO. Now, when he left after they got some external investment years later, I was his next startup. So he was my
Right.
co-founder of Disrupt Ops. Him, Brandy Peterson, Mike Rothman, Adrian Lane, we all founded this company, Disrupt Ops. And then FireMon acquired Disrupt Ops. And it was like a reverse merger because Jody then took FireMon back over again.
Right. It is an interesting story, but politics makes strange bedfellows, and
Yeah.
security stories are constantly, strange. It's a strange industry.
And circular.
And circular, right? Exactly. No corners. But Rich, speaking of network policy management, and I left an initial out of there, didn't I? It's NSPM. Network Security Policy Management.
Yep.
FireMon recently put out a report.
Yep.
Talk to us. What's it about?
So we had this new product called Insights, and kind of product, kind of feature. So we actually leveraged some of the stuff that I had done in cloud as the base platform for this, or our team. I mean, it was 30 people when we get acquired, but the Insights product for customers that are willing to share use this, it uses their data and does analysis to help them optimize their use of their firewalls. So it gives you all this really wild reporting and stuff that nobody else has seen before. Well, we found out that there was some interesting things that we didn't even know, because historically we've got our little silos of customers here, and here, and we had a way to look at kind of the data in the big picture. Now, again, all privacy preserving, customer driven. Like let's be careful, we're not stealing our customers' data. But we found that like 90% of firewalls had critical policy failures. And what do we mean by that is it's a compliance failure, an obvious compliance failure. And it can be anything like somebody left port 22 open where that shouldn't have been, or clear text protocols where it shouldn't have been, or anything along those lines. So those policies, and there are standards around like PCI, for example. We map those specific firewall rules to what PCI requires, and there were the high degree of failure. But then there's it was 60%. I'm going to cheat and pull my numbers up. 60%.
Okay.
The high severity compliance checks. The 90% is actually 95% of numbers.
Falling short of critical levels.
Yeah, well, it wasn't even that. It's like inefficiencies. So 95% of the application objects that people define, so you can define application objects in firewall rules, weren't used.
Right.
So you're turning on, you're burning CPU cycles, you have these bigger complex policies that are going to be problematic to deal with, and
you're not in compliance, and you're not secure.
Yeah.
So here's what I find not fascinating, revolting, that I've known about FireMon since he spun it out. I remember going to Kansas City and talking to them. And we've had firewalls, next generation firewalls, web application firewalls, this firewall, that firewall. We've had companies like FireMon and some of their competitors back in the day, Tufin, and I forgot the other one.
I forget them all.
But whoever they are, but that have preached firewall policy management religiously for 15, 20 years.
Well, it's in every audit and every assessment.
So why do we still deal with this? Why are we still?
It's
AI, help me.
Yeah.
I mean, can AI automate this once and for all?
I mean, and we actually have some of that available in Insights to help you like explore your environment. So we have an AI chatbot up there, which you didn't even know when you asked me the question. But it's more of so this was new to me. Like, even though I've been in security forever, I haven't really dug into firewalls too much. And after the acquisition, even though I'm very cloud focused, some of what I had to do also began having to focus a lot more on the network security angle specifically. There's so many reasons why. One is like somebody will put a rule in to get something working, and they'll forget to take it out, or manually trying to manage these rules in these heterogeneous environments. If you have Checkpoint and Palo and Cisco and Fortinet, and a lot of organizations do. And even if they try to standardize on one, then they're going to acquire or have a merger or something like that, and they're going to get other ones out there. So it just creates all of these extra levels of complexity. The other is when you're dealing with these at scale, the process of managing those rule changes and pushing those out to where they need to be, it blew me away how much goes into that. There's organizations that literally have dozens of people dedicated to just managing firewall rule changes. And it's not an exaggeration. I was like, wait, you have how many people And I'm like, don't you have any automation? They go, yes, this is after the automation. These are all the exceptions. Because some of these orgs just have these, incredibly large, complex environments.
Oh, absolutely.
And then the mid-size, they don't have enough people to manage what they do have.
And that's also been a problem
Yeah.
forever and ever, right?
But that's why we love the insights, because that is exposing information to them that data was already always there, but within the market, like we weren't providing that in a way that was like impactful. Like you can go to your CEO, go, we're failing 60%. I mean, that's the average in the report, not the 90 I said at first, the
Right.
60%. We're failing 60% of our compliance checks, that are high or above. We have 95% of our application objects aren't even used. Like that's just wasted space and added complexity.
Yep.
So that's the kind of stuff that was like, I'll be honest, when our team saw the results, they were like, oh, this is really good.
Well, it's good for FireMon, right? But
Well, yeah.
it's bad for what's going on out there. I think you pulled the 90% number. 60% of enterprise firewalls fail high severity compliance checks.
Yep.
Another 34% falling short at critical levels.
Yeah.
So that's where you probably got 90, 95%,
Yeah.
94%. I want to pivot, if we can, a little bit. Recently, FireMon announced an integration with Illumio in the Zero Trust. And of course, Illumio is the leader in the network segmentation market. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, and that was actually one of the things that I was involved with. So that was kind of the products that I work on with the Illumio integration. So we're not releasing all the specific technical details around this, but when you're using these microsegmentation products and you have traditional firewalls and other network security controls in your environment, there can be conflict. So a lot of the time, the reason an enterprise is going to bring in Illumio is because of a couple of different things, maybe not enough firewalls, or they need deeper segmentation, and there's cost effectiveness becomes a factor there. You can't necessarily drop boxes everywhere in. And then there's also the additional layer of what products like Illumio are good for is they start giving you a better ability to manage rules based on what something is, as opposed to firewalls, which were designed purely to protect a good network from a bad network. Well, the problem that you can encounter is that for products like Illumio to work, they have to have agents everywhere. And so there's a couple of different layers of issues where you can potentially run into issues. One of those is, imagine you're a hospital or manufacturing or other facilities. You can't always install agents on everything. And so you're still going to need the firewalls to provide the rules around protecting those objects, but you still want it to work well with Illumio. So what we've done, and as we announce more about this, get out more details, but it actually can glue together the firewalls and Illumio in intelligent ways so that they can actually be more compatible. The other issue is what if you want your Illumio assets to talk to each other, but you've got to get across the firewalls, and sometimes that can be a problem as well.
Sure.
So those are like the two most common problems that we've kind of built this to go ahead and be able to address. And that's why it's great, because we can get to the asset level, attribute level security, and we can do it with your existing firewalls and have that also work with the microsegmentation with Illumio.
Now, look, it's a zero trust play.
Yeah.
But we should also mention it is it's about resilience too.
Yep.
Right. And that's a big thing, right? People may not associate network security posture management, NSPM, with resilience, but that's part of the resilience model, right? Is try to contain where we're threatened, where something goes on, right? So we don't lose the whole ship.
Yeah, being able to respond more dynamically. So there's that security resilience play. And then there's also the resilience of what if the firewall goes down or this goes down or that goes down, and being able to actually, have the ability to like update your environments to account for those kinds of situations.
And it plays into the zero trust thing, which I think is finally, with all due respect to John Kindervag, I was talking to John a couple of weeks ago. A lot of people poo-pooed it and gave it a hard time, but it's really become part of the
every company I talk, like I had to do a bunch of research for our new products that we're working on, and it blew me away that they all had some kind of zero trust
Yeah,
initiative.
it's the way it is.
Yeah.
It's the way it is. Anyway, Rich, I think we covered the topics that our corporate overlords have asked us to cover. Is there anything else that we missed, you think, or?
No, it was, I mean, pretty good. The, you know, tying in a little bit back to the zero trust piece of it too, the part is I, like you, I poo-pooed some of the early stuff.
Uh-huh.
Let's be
We
honest.
all did.
Yeah, but I've come around on it because, particularly now, because we have all this complexity that's been added to our networks with cloud and with containers and, you know, ephemeral virtualized assets and everything else. And like a lot of our security models just haven't worked for that on the network security side because it's port, protocol, source, destination. And as somebody who's very cloud centric, this has been I had forgotten how much harder a problem it is in a data like cloud. I have a lot of capabilities. I can do all these dynamic rules.
And that's funny because initially we thought we didn't have that in the cloud, right?
Yeah.
We didn't have enough control. We didn't have enough insight. We didn't have enough ability to manipulate what we needed. But now you're saying, you know, I'm so used to doing that this stuff in the data center is a lot harder.
It is a lot harder, but some of those principles, like in cloud, I can very easily write rules that refer to the assets or the attributes. I mean, that's a really powerful part of this. Like this asset with these tags connect to this thing over here. And those are things that we have really struggled intensely with in the data center. And so, you know, either with our, you know, bringing that asset intelligence and doing it in a way that works for enterprises. Like that's a big part of all of this is really easy to show this stuff off in a lab.
Agreed.
But you go into some of these large,
it's a real world.
And our clients are huge. Some of these environments.
Oh, I remember that. I mean, I know the firewall story. What freaked me out when I first became really familiar with FireMon is you had customers who had dozens, if not hundreds, of firewalls.
Hundreds or thousands is not uncommon.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That have to be managed. And now in multiple locations, and now you've got to layer in cloud capabilities, like understand the cloud network and then harmonize the cloud network with the on-premises network because you've got all this hybrid stuff that needs to talk to each other. And yet in the end, we want this thing to talk to this thing and not talk to this thing.
It's a relatively simple thing, right?
Yeah, and so that's where like this Illumio partnership and other things that, you know, will come out someday, being able to have more of an ability to kind of make those decisions and have that higher level intelligence so you're not down to a 5-tuple firewall rule anymore.
I get it. Hey, Rich, we're about out of time. I appreciate you coming up here to the
Thanks for having
Taj Mahal. And
am I allowed to leave?
yeah, you got to see.
Why is there plastic
table?
in the corner there?
Yeah, we're going to edit all this out, guys. Just make sure you stop in the bathroom, wash your hands real good.
Okay.
Rich Mogull, FireMon here at Black Hat. We're going to take a break. We are going to continue with my friend Fred Wilmot coming up next on TechStrong TV.